Hello, good day to you, listeners of ethBeats, Lessons in Graceful Living. Today, we're very pleased to have with us a special guest. Her name is Rachel Chia. She is acting CEO of SDAX, which is a MAS regulated digital asset exchange here in Singapore. Rachel comes from a very unique background. She has experience both in banking and as a lawyer, working in major banks and large international law firms throughout her career, spanning multiple jurisdictions, including Europe, Hong Kong, and Singapore. So today, welcome, Rachel, for spending time with us today.
Yeah, thanks Liling for having me on ethBeats. Very excited to be here.
Okay, awesome. Just some questions for you on governance, because ethBeats really stands for principles around the GRACE acronym, and G stands for governance. So in terms of governance, how do you ensure effective governance practices within your organization? Particularly regarding decision-making processes and accountability?
Sure. I think it starts with culture. It starts with a firm-wide appreciation within companies that everyone in the company is accountable to all stakeholders, our shareholders, our clients, our regulators, and the general investing community. We do, of course, have a slate of policies and procedures which are very carefully crafted to be in line with not just the letter of the law, but the spirit of the law. And sometimes it goes beyond that as well, which kind of deals with the myriad of governance issues that we face on a day-to-day basis of how we conduct our business. But policies and procedures are only as good as the level at which they're enforced and their practice. And this comes down essentially to mindset and culture at an organizational level. So we take a very holistic approach to this. Everyone in the firm is aware that we operate in a regulated space, and everyone is cognizant of their responsibility to the team and to the company and to all stakeholders. And we kind of demonstrate this commitment to effective governance through leadership at the senior management all the way down to like the most junior employee. We have ongoing dialogue, we have education that from both the senior management and the compliance teams to the rest of the firm. We also have education from some of our providers. And also we have a culture where everyone is free and safe to voice concerns about any behavior that is not in line with like proper governance.
So that it sounds like there is very much a culture of transparency, of being safe to express one's concerns, and that issues would be addressed in a non-judgmental way. So that's important in cultivating that culture of transparency in an organization. And in this digital age, and with the growth of artificial intelligence taking over many aspects of business operations, from customer service to risk management, what do you think of the concept of governance, and how must this concept evolve and be adapted for the digital age?
I think the basic tenets of governance do not change. Technology is an enabler. It helps to make our life easier. So we do use tools, and we constantly seek out tools which make our life easier, like reg tech tools or compliance tools, tech tools which help to automate some of the more manual, laborious pieces of work, so that people are freed up to do more high value work, to make better decisions. So then they are freed up from fatigue of, like the day-to-day grind, to do more high value work. And in that piece of high value work is to make the best decisions that they can in the framework of governance that we've set out for the entire company. So, and it's, you see how AI is being increasingly used in different types of technology, and AI machines are constantly being trained to learn. I think AI is still at a very nascent stage of being able to learn human behavior. I think humans will always be humans, and I don't think AI will be able to completely replicate that. And there are nuances which I guess AI machine learning is not able to pick up on yet. So there will always be this element, I feel, of humans having to work with AI. I don't think AI is that AI has to be viewed as a tool which frees humans to do higher value work, to be best at what humans are best at.
Indeed, indeed. Okay. Identify and assess risks that are associated with digital asset trading and exchange operations. And what measures do you have in place to mitigate these risks?
So we have enterprise-wide risk management frameworks, and we look at risk holistically, and we also understand that risk constantly evolves as people's behavior evolves, and as investments that are put and products that are put on our platform evolve. So the risks that we are facing today may be the ones that will be different from the ones that we may face a year down the line, because there will be different behaviors depending on macroeconomic trends, depending on the advance of technology. But what we have put in place is really a principles-based enterprise-wide risk management framework, so that we are equipped in the way that we think about risks and the way that we adapt to these risks that they as they evolve.
Yeah, I like what you said about principles-based enterprise-wide risk management. So it's not really simply a tick-the-box method, but really ensuring that we do the right things and not just doing things right, so to speak. How do you ensure the security of customer funds and protect against potential threats such as hacking or fraudulent activities?
So customer funds on the SDAX platform are all held at client money accounts. So under the MAS guidelines of how we deal with client monies, they are all held in trust accounts at financial institutions under client monies accounts. This means that they're all segregated from SDAX's own funds and even our custodian's own funds. So they're always segregated, they're ring-fenced, they're held in trust for client monies. So clients that deal with SDAX should take comfort from that. These are properly segregated and ring-fenced and do not form, in the very unlikely event that SDAX goes bust or our custodian goes bust, their funds are safe. And then to the second part of the question, how do we protect ourselves against potential threats of hacking and fraudulent activities? We have tools that we use, software that we have kind of bought from various providers that help us to do surveillance of the kind of transactions that are being done on our platform. We of course have a strong compliance team as well that kind of tracks this. Everyone in the firm has been trained to understand the kind of risks that come with like money laundering or layering transactions. Everyone has gone through a training to be able to identify those, and everyone is obliged to kind of report any suspicious activity or transactions. We have also in place like various processes to make sure that we're tracking and monitoring these on an ongoing basis, because this forms part of our obligations as a regulated entity to the MAS.
Okay. And given the recent news of financial institutions being slapped with hefty penalties by financial regulators for failure to do adequate KYC and tracking source of funds, could you elaborate a little bit on how you handle customer due diligence, anti-money laundering measures and processes to prevent illicit activities being carried out on the SDAX platform?
Yeah, it's a very topical topic, right? Today we just saw on the news fines, and I think the regulators are right to be very vigilant on the risk of AML non-compliance, because Singapore does not want the reputation of being a money laundering center. On our platform, every client that opens an account with SDAX has to go through our stringent KYC and AML procedures. No one's allowed to transact with us until they have fully passed KYC. We use institutional grade KYC approval tools, which are embedded onto the kind of sign-up journey. And like we have integrated SingPass as part of that journey, so that you can use your SingPass to help you with your KYC journey. AML is being done with the help of the kind of providers for AML checks that we use. And on an ongoing basis, we do transaction monitoring. We and as I mentioned before, everyone in the firm has been trained to understand what layering and potentially money laundering transactions look like. And that's not just the frontline staff, but even everyone in the firm has to go through that training, and people in the finance department also have to go through that training. So if they do see suspicious activity, suspicious transactional activity, which looks like layering, or they are not sure about the veracity of some of these transactions or the source of funds, these all have to be flagged in the kind of process that we have set out for them.
It's a very collaborative and cohesive kind of a setup that you've got in SDAX to ensure that these things are raised to the right people at the right time, and they're addressed in a timely manner. All right. And flowing from this, what ethical guidelines or codes of conduct do you have in place for your employees and stakeholders? And how do you promote an ethical culture within your organization?
I think embedded in each of our policies and procedures is kind of a standard of behavior that we expect from everyone, and how they have to, the standards that this company want to adhere to. And I kind of alluded to earlier, the company is built on a culture that we are all responsible adults. And it's not just a top-down environment where people are waiting around to be told what to do. Everyone is jointly responsible for compliance. Compliance is not just the purview of our compliance team, but it is the responsibility of everyone in the firm. And one part of that culture to kind of encourage this ethical behavior is an open and transparent culture where it's a safe environment for people to kind of raise concerns that they have if they spot some questionable or unethical behavior. I mean, like, we're very cognizant that the tokenization blockchain industry is marred by these stories of bad actors, right? We've had the FTX, we've had various stories of fraud at all levels of the crypto kind of industry. But we don't think it has to be that way. Blockchain is a good technology and shouldn't be marked just by stories of these bad players. And SDAX truly believes that there's a different way of operating. We have created a team that understand ethical culture goes just beyond adherence to a checkbox kind of measure, but it is having a culture of honor, right? To act in an honorable way to the company, to your clients, to your colleagues. And I think people have to understand that all throughout the organization to have a truly ethical environment in which they can work.
Right. And business is complex, and business models change very fast, and life moves very fast. Decisions need to be made very quickly. In the ethical space, and with your unique background as both a banker and a lawyer, what kind of experiences have you had, and how have they shaped your understanding of ethics and the day-to-day upholding of ethical standards?
I think I've had the good fortune of, when I first started out, I had a good fortune of having really great bosses that acted in a very honorable manner. I mean, it also helped that I was in the law firm, so we all understood we had to follow the law. And through them, I learned a lot about understanding how to operate on a principles-based approach rather than just following checkboxes. Because when you understand the principles of how, when you have a more principles-based approach, it's a more holistic way of looking at things rather than just looking at individual rules out of context. I have also been in situations where there was pressures to do things that were or may not have been ethical. And I think it calls for a certain amount of courage to question that, and to have open discussions about it. I think people should be brave and not be afraid of having those conversations. I think sometimes people are put in positions where they're afraid that they might lose their jobs if they kind of don't adhere to like an order to do an unethical behavior. But I would suggest that if you did that unethical behavior, it's a loss to your reputation and might have like further reaching impacts than just losing your job, right? And I think there should always be a space for doing what's right.
Right. And to be able to sleep easy at night, and not have that voice of conscience bugging you all the time, right?
Yeah, and life is more than a job. And if you're in a company which forces you to do stuff that are not so ethical, you might want to consider whether you want to keep
Exactly.
working in that sort of environment.
Exactly. And I think this is the kind of perspective someone who's walked the journey through the years is able to have. So thank you for sharing that with us. So coming back to the digital asset space, it's very much, we reckon, relatively frontier space as far as new transactional models are concerned. How do you stay updated on emerging cyber risks and ensure continuous improvement in your security measures?
So we have a great CTO, and he's very aware of the constant threats that we will face as a platform in this age where cybersecurity is a looming and always present threat. And we have tools in place, we have vendors that we work with which help us with our defense against cybersecurity, including white hat hackers and like the that we use for security. I hope that our team now has this culture where we understand we constantly need to be upgrading our knowledge and keeping abreast of what's going on in the market and what's going on trend wise. Crooks will always be very smart, right? It's in their business and it's in their interest to stay one step ahead of everyone so that they can do their crooked business. And I think as a platform, you have to understand that crooks will always be smart and you have to be smarter than them or try to be smarter than them. And I think the best way of doing that is actually working with like the best partners that you can find who as a collective, we can then effectively try and guard against ourselves these cybersecurity attacks.
Right. So again, I think important keywords that you have used: collective, and from what you've described, a very collaborative effort, because no one person can know everything, and things are changing so quickly. It's very important then to maintain that open-mindedness and that self-awareness that you may not know what you don't know, and constantly be challenging your own mindset and assumptions. Thank you for that. So some key takeaways, Rachel, from your journey as a banker and a lawyer, and from a young practitioner to now being acting CEO of a regulated exchange. What key life lessons could you share with people who are on their own journeys navigating changes in their life and their work?
Sure, I don't feel old enough to be giving key life lessons to anyone, but that's an interesting question and something I reflect on myself quite a lot. What are my guiding values in life? And there are probably quite a few guiding values, but for the purposes of today's discussion, I'd probably like to highlight two. One is to be brave, right? To be brave to kind of step out of your comfort zone and try different things. I've had the good fortune of being exposed to a variety of environments and career opportunities to try different things and start off as a lawyer and somehow end up in in a wealth tech platform. And I would say just be brave and step out of your comfort zone. It does take some bravery to do something that you're not used to. I would say also be brave to not take shortcuts, right? I think life is richer when you don't take shortcuts and you choose to do things the hard but proper way. And be brave to seek excellence and like the best of standards in what you can do at any moment in time. To not take and it's a corollary of not taking shortcuts, because that's the best way to enrich your life when you kind of seek the best and the excellence in the standards of everything that you're doing. And I think be brave in keeping with the theme of what we're talking about today. Be brave to do the right thing, right? Sometimes it's a choice of being liked and doing the right thing. And I think that calls for bravery. But you'll probably love yourself more if you do the right thing, the right and honorable thing. And probably the second takeaway is to be humble. I think life is a lifelong journey of learning, right? The learning never ends. Life keeps on evolving. The world keeps on evolving. And I think together with that, you have to keep on learning and being humble, learning from others. In the spirit of collaboration, no one has the monopoly of knowledge, right? But together as a enrich our own learning journeys. And I think like from the various experiences that I've had watching like people, arrogance and ego will always work against you. So humility always has a place in kind of our journey, and it will serve you well.
Very good. Yeah. Very inspiring, Rachel. So I think today's key lessons can be summarized perhaps with some keywords: collective efforts, collaboration, doing the right thing, being courageous, the 3 C's, right? And being constantly always learning and being curious about the world.
So 5 C's.
5 C's. Yeah. So thank you very much, Rachel, for spending time with us today. Thank
It
you
was
so
a great
much.
pleasure. Thank you for having me.